Hi everybody, I have a new camera here, so it's kind of different, but I'm going to take you through our lesson 3 day 4 for any student that was absent, or if you wanted a quick review of our concept that we went through class today, here's a quick video for you. So looking at your screen, I'm going to minimize myself and let's look at the screen itself. Your learning target is to connect those three views, that table to that rule to that graph. But we're going to disregard the table today, and we're going to really zoom in on the rule and the graph. So our rule that we're going to study for linear equations is called slope-intercept form. And the reason why it gets its name is that first value that we need to replace or to find or to identify is our m, which represents our slope. And that slope is always the coefficient of our x term inside our function rule equation. Also, that m value gives us the movement of the line when we change it from rule to graph. So it tells us how we're moving using those similar triangles up, down, and then left or right to get to the next point on my line. The other value b inside my slope-intercept form is our y coordinate of the y-intercept. So that b value is only one coordinate of our y-intercept, and it's the y coordinate of our y-intercept. So we have a ordered pair where x is 0, and that y value, our y coordinate, is our b value. And what that does, that gives us the point in which the line crosses or intersects the y-axis. And that's really important because we are going to begin at that point. So again, b represents the y coordinate of the y-intercept. It's where the line crosses the y-axis, and it's where we begin our graphing, our changing our rule from algebra to a more visual understanding of our line on a coordinate plane. So let's look a little bit into this. The y-intercept is the value of y where a graphed line crosses the, and hopefully you all remember the words I just said, it's the y-axis in which the line is crossing. And then we also need to remember that that y-intercept is the ordered pair when x is 0. All right, so that tells us exactly that location on our y-axis where x is 0. So let's look at a couple pictures that we have. So you can see this picture. My line is falling. Remember, we read lines left to right. So we start here, and we see that this line is falling, and we see our y-intercept right here, the location where my line intersects the y-axis, and then it goes off into quadrant 4. So this point right there is called my y-intercept, and that ordered pair is the value that I'm going to report for my b value. So that is ordered pair 0, and there's when x is 0, but my y coordinate is -1, and that -1 is going to become the b value within my equation. So that's one quick look at one graph. Here's another one, and hopefully you can see where that y-intercept is. Yeah, hopefully you said, yep, it's right there, Mrs. Anderson. It's at 0, 2. Yes, that's our point of intersection. And that's it's called the y-intercept. And our last one, let's see if you can find this one. Hopefully you saw it right here. Even though this is a horizontal line, I still have a y-intercept. Horizontal lines are linear functions. So I do have a y-intercept right here, and that's ordered pair. Remember, 0 on the x, and 1, 2, 3 on our y. So that is our y-intercept right there, and that's where we're going to use that y coordinate of 3 as our b value. So you're going to do the next one independently for all my absent students. We're going to do that in class, but for my absent students, you'll do this one for yourself. So I want this to be part of your notes, which I'm not going to give you the answer. Please give me the y-intercept ordered pairs of the following 3. And you can find that right inside your slide deck that's made for you. All right, so moving on to the next one. can we break down this equation, y equals mx plus b, and identify some things in it? So I gave you 3 different equations, all looking, they're all linear. Remember, linear has an x coordinate to the power of 1, and you can see in every single one of those equations, I do have x to the power of 1, so all of those are considered linear. And now I'm going to start breaking apart. I'm going to find the m's in these, and I'm going to find the b values in these. So remember, the slope is the coefficient of x. So I can see right here, this -4 is the coefficient of x. So I know that my slope is -4. But what's that movement? So I need to make sure that my slope is written in fraction form, because remember, slope definition is the change in y compared to the change in x. It's a ratio. So I need to change this into a ratio, which is a fraction, which would be -4 to 1. Now, since I can see the change in y is -4 and the change in x is 1, I can now interpret that as a movement. If my y is negative, that means I'm going down 4. That's what my numerator tells me. And my denominator is my change in x, and this is a +1. Right on the x-axis is positive, so this means right 1. So again, we're going to change our slope into a ratio so I can see the movement of my y and my x-axis. My y-intercept. My y-intercept is the constant term. That's right here. But remember, my y-intercept is 0, b. So the y-intercept is an ordered pair. So the ordered pair, remember, is when x is 0. So I have 0, 8. There is my, let me change the color so I can just make it stand out a little bit different than my slope. So there is my constant term, which my constant term is the y coordinate of the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 0, 8, and my b value is just 8. That's my beginning. Remember that B stands for beginning location on my y-axis. So again, I'm going to allow you to do these independently, and this will be part of your notes moving forward for my absent students. For anybody that's watching this again, we went over those answers during class and got feedback on there. Then you're going to see that I gave you 3 more that I want you to think about. What's the slope? How do I identify that? And I have that slope-intercept form right up there for you to refer to. How do I change that slope into a ratio to define the movement? And then how do I take that b value and write my y-intercept to know where I'm going to begin graphing this line? So there's 3 more there for you to do. Now my next section is classification. So I'm going to do the first one for you, and then you'll do the rest. This equation, is it linear or nonlinear? So remember, linear means that you have an equation that has the highest power of x is 1. So we have x to the first power. Nonlinear would be anything x to a different power. So that would be squared, x cubed, x to the negatives. All of those are considered nonlinear. Linear is just the family that has x to the first power. So in this case, if I look at my equation, I could see this is x to the first. So yes, this is linear. If it's linear, then I should be able to go forward. If linear, then complete the following boxes. It's exactly what we just did in the other ones. So what's my slope? In this case, my coefficient of x is 4. Change that to my ratio so I can see my movement. +4 in the numerator says up 4. +1 in the denominator says right 1 for my movement. My b value is -7. Therefore, my y-intercept is 0, -7. So again, that's a quick refresher. I want you to move through here, linear or nonlinear. If you circle nonlinear, you don't need to do these boxes because we don't have the same outcome when we have things that are nonlinear. So you're going to work through those, and I have 2 pages of those for you to work through. And then at the end, you have a quick little quizzes. If the link doesn't work, I put the code down there for you, joinmyquiz.com. So hopefully that gives you A little insight of today's class for my absent students, as well as any child that wanted to hear the lesson over again. In class, there'll be a lot more details and there'll be questions from kids, but this gives you a good example, a quick review of the correct vocabulary and what we did today. If you have any questions, email me, private comment in Google Classroom, like the video so I know that these are actually helpful for you on YouTube. Take care, and I'll see you soon.